False alarm there, folks. Didn't have my mic connected. Had no mic action when I first did that. So here we go. Now we are back in the mix. Alrighty, folks. Well, it is September 11th. It is Tuesday, and it is now 11:01 a.m. Pacific time. We have Steven Sales, Asterix Gaming, Sponge 720, Bird Person, Phil Yarn, Chebby, Crunchy, Fluke, Max Grit, Chris Cox, The Jordan Complex, and T-Dub all in chat right now. And it is another day. It's another show. And you know what? Today is Windlands 2. Oh my God. I didn't realize the embargo was over on Windlands 2. I would have played a lot more of it yesterday. I thought the embargo was tomorrow at 9 a.m. So I figured, oh, I'll just play the hell out of Windlands 2 on Tuesday and then talk about it on Wednesday. But luckily I did play Windlands 2 yesterday. I played it the day before. I do have my thoughts on Windlands 2. I'm still kind of early in the game itself, so I don't have like detailed thoughts. I haven't gotten super far into it. I'm playing all kinds of games, man. There's so many games that I've been touching in the last couple of days. In fact, I will actually have some thoughts on Unknown Fate. Do you guys remember Unknown Fate was going for like $12.75 or whatever it was? Mars Lit is the developer of Unknown Fate, and I did get a key for that game, and I did try a little bit of Unknown Fate, so we'll have a little bit of that coming up later. So we have a lot of interesting stuff to get into. Iceberg Slim, yeah, it's the same thing every time, man. It's the same thing every time. I am Iceberg Slim. We always are on the very tip of the iceberg. Very rarely do I swing over to the side and get really deep up in there. But Windlands 2, I can guarantee you this. I will get pretty freaking deep into Windlands 2 as the days continue. But it's hard. It's hard being a pimp these days and trying to cover every game that comes out. It really is. It's quite difficult. But before we get into all of that discussion, let me see here. I know I had some couple of things that I wanted to bring up here, and let's see what we can think about here. Okay, well, you know what? Why don't we start things off with one of our own. One of our own has made the charts, baby. Look at this. This is Wolfenstein 3D, the mod, the new VR mod. And whose name is there up at number 1? Number 1 is MameFan. He has 701,000 points, 300. MameFan is number 1, our very own MameFan. Who knew that we had Ninja in the building? Who knew we had an expert gamer in the building with MameFan? That, of course, is Wolfenstein 3D. And, you know, a question to all of you guys out there, have you played Wolfenstein 3D? It's free. Why are you not playing this? Is there something wrong with you? You know, because Wolfenstein 3D, honestly, I think it looks pretty freaking cool. I've played Wolfenstein 3D. I've gotten into it. It's a nice game. Now, here, this is a video. This is called Stardust VR. I was looking for a video for this the other day. It's kind of a weird aspect ratio. Let's check this out for just a second, and we'll get right back. Okay, so that is Stardust VR. The other day, I was looking for a trailer for this. Couldn't find a trailer for this. I did find this trailer. This is coming out on September 28th. The publisher is Frozen Dreams, but it's made by Last in Oni, whatever that is. And I just wanted to bring this one up really quick because I know I was looking for a trailer for this, didn't have one. But this game is being described as somewhat inspired by like Space Invaders and classic arcade games, Galaxian, kind of stuff like that, but from a first-person perspective, basically. You can play solo, co-op, or PvP with a friend as you shoot, dodge, and create black holes along your way to the top of the leaderboards. This is called Stardust VR. It is coming late September, September 28th. So just wanted to bring that up real quick just because I finally did find the trailer for that. But yeah, man, main fan number 1, what is up with that? Main fan not in chat today. Paradise Decay is in chat. Greg's VR, Phil Yarn, obviously, Kevin Mars, and lots of others are checking in. Terry Blanchard, what up? Yeah, Stardust VR, I like how colorful this is. You know, we have no idea how much this thing is going to cost. I do like this music that's in this trailer. I don't know why I was looking on Steam for like new games that were coming or other games that were coming in September, and I happened to see this one, and I don't know why it caught my eye. Probably just how colorful it is, really. VR Mania Q is there. Oh, Main Fan. The celebrity is back. Main Fan is here, our number 1 guy. Let me throw that on the screen one more time. Yeah, Main Fan number 1, the celebrity is here. Did he play with touch? Steven Sales is saying. And no, I think he played this because he was playing this for days before they had the new Oculus patch. So I'm pretty sure he was playing this on the Vive. Main Fan says, the nice thing about VR is that it isn't too hard to get on a leaderboard. Yeah, that is true, especially if you have access to games before they're even available to the public. Then you can really get on the leaderboard. I've actually been on the leaderboard in a couple of games for an incredibly brief period of time, and it is fun when you look at the leaderboards and you see like VR game rankings, hey, I'm in the top 5 of 2MD VR football or something, you know, for a couple of minutes, and then it disappears. Like, see, here's the thing. Main Fan is number 1 right now, but I could go check right now and somebody may have passed him up, or somebody might pass him up tomorrow or later today. Hey, maybe somebody in chat might go after that score and see if they can improve on it. But yeah, that is Main Fan in the news a little bit there. Okay, so one of the things I did want to mention today is I continue to play my Oculus Go. And one of the games I recently played on my Oculus Go was Drop Dead. And this is a game that I experienced first on the Oculus Rift. I played Drop Dead on the Oculus Rift. I never played it on Gear VR or anything else. But I've now checked this out. Let's watch this trailer for a sec, though.
You're one of a kind, Cypher.
Some of your recently alive colleagues, I think. They're just dying to say hello.
Yeah, so this, of course, is Drop Dead, and this trailer here, I believe, is actually the Gear VR version of the game. And so what I was talking about a little bit earlier is I have played this on the Oculus Rift, and I enjoyed it for what it is, which is an on-the-rails wave shooter. You know, it's basically a wave shooter. You're kind of on rails. It's kind of House of the Living Dead or something like that. You know, it's almost like one of those old light gun style games in a way. You're stopped at certain times just shooting things, and then sometimes it starts moving and you're moving along. The developer is Pixel Toys. And I'm a fan of Drop Dead. I like it on the Oculus Rift. I enjoyed my time with it on the Oculus Rift, and I recently tried the Oculus Go version. And I got to tell you, the Oculus Go version of this game might be my favorite Oculus Go game so far, just from the standpoint that when I'm playing this in my Oculus Go with the little Oculus Go controller, you know, just the little one-handed touchpad thing with the little trigger on it, the basic simple controller, it works so well. It works perfectly fine. Is it an incredibly simple game? Yes, it is. Are the graphics very cartoony? Yes, they are. But the translation, like, well, this was actually translated to the Rift. It started out on mobile, really. But it looks so good on the Oculus Go. It plays so good on the Oculus Go. This is probably the best demo material, maybe on the Oculus Go, that I've seen so far. Like, if I wanted to show somebody my Oculus Go real quick, I would probably put them into this because it's relatively easy to do, and it just works so well. It is so nice. Now, Martino Movie says Dead and Buried is better on the Go than the Rift as well. Oh, I thought he was going to say Dead and Buried is a lot better than Drop Dead. And maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. But this game right now, at first I was going to say, what's my #1 Oculus Go game? I'd probably say In Space or Kin. But this one has now taken my #1 ranking just because you're almost getting like the same experience that somebody would get on the Oculus Rift, but on your Go. You know, you don't have to lean in or everything because it automatically does your movement for you. So just very impressive with this game. Yeah, and Nick Daniels says it just works. Well, the thing is, it's fast. It loads up. You're in there. You're playing. It's working. It's operating. And it's very 3D. I could imagine I'm going to demo this to like family members and stuff. And some of them are probably going to actually get freaked out by some of these cartoony looking zombies. But what you're seeing in this trailer is exactly what it looks like. And it runs pretty well on the Oculus Go. Very impressive. So for everybody out there, anybody out there that has an Oculus Go, if you've played Drop Dead, if you've played Kin, if you've played In Space, like what other game do you think belongs with those three? Like what else should I be trying to play on my Oculus Go to try to get maybe some of the best experiences possible on the Oculus Go? Obviously, virtual reality has a version on the Go that is probably really good. I've only played the Oculus Rift version of that. But yeah, Main Fan says, have this for Gear VR, but never tried it. I mean, I'm not trying to hype this thing up. It's very simple. It's the most simple game ever. It's a point-and-shoot game. It is a shooting gallery, essentially. It's sometimes you're stopped, sometimes you're moving like on a slow-moving train practically. But I like it. I really like it. So definitely a fan of that. And then there's something else I tried on my Oculus Go. And this might not exactly be safe for work, but I gotta bring this up. Because, okay, folks, Amaze 3D. Amaze 3D. Has anybody seen this? I'm going to put this full screen for just a second. Apologies to the kiddos out there. Okay, has anybody tried this thing for Amaze 3D? Because, Main Fan, here we go. Here we go. Yeah. I keep trying this Amaze 3D app for the Oculus Go, and amazed I am. Like, for example, okay, so this video right here. So obviously this video is kind of appealing to the lowest common denominator. They basically take a pretty girl, she's wearing virtually nothing, and she's standing inches away from the camera, gyrating and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And I'm not bringing this up for that reason. Like, I'm not bringing it up for that kind of a factor. In fact, let me find a different Amaze 3D trailer. I think I have another one as well, and I'll put the other one on because it's not quite as obvious in this other one. But okay, let me rescale this. Yeah, so this Amaze 3D, I've said it before that most, oh, there it is. That's the thing. That's the scene that I've tried. What I'll say is this Amaze 3D, the clarity, and just they're doing this 180. You know, they're doing 180. They're not trying to do 360. Well, most of them aren't trying to do 360. Most of them are doing 180. And the clarity, it's really dialed in. It really looks good. It is actually impressive. I am impressed by this. I want to know what kind of cameras are they using. Now, the Rex Terra says, I tried Amaze. The scale was off. It felt like a Hobbit woman was dancing in front of me. Yeah, that is true. That is true, because when I did it, I was like, this girl is either 4 feet, like 4.5 feet tall, or something is wrong with the scale. And that's something that they're still working on. Like, they still haven't figured that out. Jim Hall says, now imagine that with Prawn. Imagine that with Prawn. And yeah, we kind of get a pretty good idea here. I have not seen Prawn that has looked quite this clear. I want to know what kind of cameras they're using. But Amaze 3D, I am very impressed with. I'm just impressed with the video quality, because most of the demos, most of the samples that I've seen, like I've seen samples of like football games and soccer games and different things, and it's just looked garbage. So maybe what the deal is that some people have finally figured out how to like capture this where it really looks 3D, it really looks good, it really looks dialed in. Maybe it has something to do with the Oculus Go. Maybe it's actually like the optics of the Oculus Go, the lack of God rays of the Oculus Go, or I don't know what it is, but a lot of these videos, if you guys have an Oculus Go, absolutely grab the Amaze 3D app and try a bunch of the different samplers, because it's really quite interesting. In fact, the one thing, the Amaze 3D that I talked about that original day, it was kind of like a Sega CD game, kind of like a choose your own adventure. It's basically like you're trying to go on a date with this chick and you're trying to score with this chick, and you'll have these different options to select of what you say to her. And then it plays a different video out and she reacts to it in a different way. And so they have stuff like that. And honestly, I think this choose your own adventure type of thing, like, I like the fact that full motion video is making a comeback. It's full motion video, baby. It's Night Trap. It's Sewer Shark, you know, it's Ground Zero Texas. Full motion video is making a comeback, and Amaze 3D, they do have some of these things where it's almost like a choose your own adventure. You're making selections and then it plays a video clip. But the fact that everything is in 3D and done so well 180 really, everything is in 180, it looks really good. So definitely impressed with Amaze 3D. What are people talking about here in chat? Jim Hall says they use Z Cam VR cameras. Okay, well, whatever they're using works really damn good. Silver says, I'm stuck in the 80s with my Mayfair. Greg's VR says, DOVR player and Strips VR, thank me later. Okay, yeah, we have to take some of these suggestions in chat. Crylike says, it looks great in the Vive too. So maybe just Amaze 3D is doing some good stuff, and I just haven't been exposed to them until I tried it on the Oculus Go. And trying it on the Oculus Go, quite impressive, to say the least. Very good demo material for people that have no idea what VR is capable of, because VR is capable of some things. We've absolutely seen that. Okay, so let's see here. Oops, my bad. What I want to do here, though, is let's change up this trailer. I think I had something else I wanted to get into real quick. Obviously, we do have my thoughts on Windlands 2. But before we get to that, why don't I get into Unknown Fate a little bit? I just tried Unknown Fate. I need to resize this. One sec here. So, Unknown Fate is a game that came out a little while ago. Let me look it up on Steam as well. I went ahead, I reached out to the developers of Unknown Fate, and I said, hey, man, I'd love to try this game. I'd love to check this out, to give my opinions, my take on this game, especially having a daily live show. I am covering VR every freaking day. Do you guys get that? Monday through Sunday, every day I'm doing these shows. And sometimes there isn't news. Sometimes there isn't stuff going on. And so I absolutely love trying some of these new things because it gives me something extra to talk about. And so Unknown Fate is a game. I did recently get a code for this, and I was able to get into this last night. Unfortunately, what do we say? Barely scratched the surface. Yeah, let's do a chorus. Barely scratched the surface. I did barely scratch the surface of this. Only played it for about 20 minutes, but I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised, honestly, by what I experienced. This is the Unknown Fate. This is the Steam page, and you can see this game came out on September 6th, so it is a recent release. It is still on sale, at least for the next 46 hours and change. It is $12.74, 15% off. And this is not crap. This game is not crap. Does it have some issues? Probably yes. It probably does have some issues. It did have a little bit of a jank factor. There really is only teleportation in this game. There is no free locomotion as far as I can tell, but there is a reason for it, because as you're moving through this world, there isn't always a solid ground. There isn't a solid ground to step on. As we're watching this trailer here, just keep your eye on the ground, on the surface, and there's a lot of areas where the ground is broken up and you can't just walk across. Iceberg, absolutely iceberg baby. Ice baby is what Phil Yarn is saying. Iceberg again. Yeah. Paradise is saying, Anthony, did you hit any slowdown? I had some minor jank with the game. Actually, at the very, very beginning of the game, it starts off super cool. It's raining. It's like you're in this neighborhood. It kind of looks like Silent Hill. Like when the game very, very first starts, you're in like this regular neighborhood. It's raining. There's lightning. You hear like the whirling of the winds. I think there's some music and stuff. It's a really cool scene, and it was Stutter City. Yeah, I did have problems with that, but a little while after that, it got fine. A little while after that, it was perfectly fine, and I was able to play through the game no problem. So sometimes, this is a thing that we've noticed, right, with VR games. I think other people have experienced this as well, or maybe this is for people that are trying to survive on 970s, 980s, 1060s, and stuff like that, that sometimes we have to deal with a bit of stutter in the beginning, and then the stutter settles down, and you actually, like, the game, like figures it out, and then the stutters kind of go away. I've seen that happen in a lot of VR games, and that did happen to me with this at the very beginning. But as you see here, as you're moving along, I didn't get to the combat area yet. I got to this one area where it has a circle, and it says to do something in the circle, and I wasn't able to get past that. So that's where I'm stuck. But I haven't seen like some of these different interiors. But what I can tell you guys is this game has a really cool, surreal, Stranger Things upside down world. It reminds me of a lot of different things like Silent Hill a little bit, and then it gets really, like, if you like mysterious stuff, if you like surreal, like magical, like you're in another place kind of stuff, that's what Unknown Fate gives me, a cool vibe. I'm really liking the vibe, but like I'm 20 minutes into the game, so I really can't say much about the game. I can say that it is not utter garbage. I can say that. It almost looks like there's actual locomotion at one point, like free locomotion. But what I was doing, maybe there isn't options where you can get free locomotion, but I was teleporting everywhere. So anyway, yeah, that is. A lot of people in chat are talking about coaster combat. Not sure what that is. But yeah, Unknown Fate, not too bad, not too shabby if you are the adventurous type. I might try to get some more game time in it today, and then maybe give some more impressions on it tomorrow before the sale is over with, because the sale is not bad. $12.74, at least here on the US Steam store, not a bad deal for that pricing. So definitely something to keep in mind. Of course, what is everybody, okay, so coaster combat on the Oculus Go, huh? Coaster combat on the Oculus Go. Well, let's do a little Google search of that. Coaster combat. Yeah, so one of the things that I was asking about is what other Oculus Go games should I put up there with In Space, Drop Dead, Kin. Those are a couple of my favorite games so far at this point in time. And apparently Coaster Combat is one to go ahead and check out. It's free. It's free. All right. Is this the right one? This is what I'm looking at on the Oculus store. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm looking at right here. So this Coaster Combat right here, it says free. Is this just a demo or is it the whole thing free? But yeah, it's got some pretty good ratings. Oh, it says it's free, but it's not. This map makes all other roller coaster apps look garbage. I'd give it 6 stars if 1, there were more environments, 2, I could occasionally get a 100% score, 3, 6 stars was an option. Pretty good comment there by Bryant Brachiopod 994 10 days ago. Pretty good comment, bro. Almost perfect. I like this comment. He really breaks it down nicely. But yeah, this is Coaster Combat. The developer is Forcefield. Ah, Forcefield is the developer. They are the developers of Landfall, I believe. Landfall for the Oculus. So yeah, Coaster's comment. I will have to check that out. Let's see what folks are talking about in chat. Phil Urine talks about Vengeful Rights demo. Has anyone tried it? I tried it. Gary talked about it for a long time on our last VR Roundtable episode. I did not think it was all that great, but I didn't give it too much of a chance. Gopher Chuck says, my Aurora's 1080 still runs with no stutter at all unless I'm recording. I haven't seen a problem yet unless I push super sampling too far. Crylike, or Crylike. I don't get why devs still don't put both teleport and free locomotion in games. I hate teleportation. Well, see, I thought the main reason that Unknown Fate did not have free locomotion is because you get in a lot of areas where you can't free locomote because there's cliffs. You got to teleport over to the other side. There's these huge holes. There's chasms. And you've got to teleport in that situation. Or they could give you a jump button and a run button. And if you could run fast enough and jump far enough, like Windlands 2, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, then you could bypass having any teleportation whatsoever. Oh yeah, this does have Tobii eye tracking. Somebody mentioned in chat that Unknown Fate has Tobii eye tracking. Yeah, this is a game here, guys. It's it's under $13. Not a bad option here, but I know, hey, all of you guys need to spend $30 tomorrow. Well, those of you that have Oculus Rift accounts, or maybe you want to take a chance on how it will work through Revive, Windlands 2. It is a big game. It is in the news. Everybody is talking about it. Paradise Decay says, Face Your Fears is better on the go than the Rift version. I still haven't tried all of that on the go yet. Raw Data, this is Gopher Chucks. Raw Data does both at the same time. It's great. Phil Yarn talks about how he can only push 1.35 super sampling on Oculus. And so, yeah, they're talking about PCs, like CPUs being crap, all kinds of stuff like that. So, let's see here. But why don't we go ahead and get into a little bit of Windlands 2 talk. So, apparently, the embargo is over on Windlands 2. I did not realize that. I thought it was tomorrow at 9 a.m. Silly me. But I can basically talk freely about Windlands 2. I can say anything I want to say about it at that point. And Phil Yarn says, look, here is the central question. Is Windlands 2 worth $30? Bottom line it for us. And I'll tell you this, Windlands 2 is absolutely worth $30 if you played through the first Windlands and loved it, and either A, you finished it, or B, you pretty much got like 90% of the way through it, and you're looking for that same kind of thing. Yes, Windlands 2 absolutely delivers. And what Windlands 2 does even better, ladies and gentlemen, is the boss battles. Oh my God. that first boss battle that I had with that crab-like thing, I'll tell you, the trailer shows it at one point. Not this. That must be an epic boss battle right there. I haven't experienced that boss battle yet. That must just be incredibly epic. I got to tell you guys, the boss battles in Windlands 2 are straight up epic. You are going to be battling these bosses over and over again. You're probably going to think they're way too hard. They're ridiculously hard, and you might get pissed off a little bit, but they're actually dialed in right. You're just going to have to take a lot of time, and you're going to figure out how do you battle these bosses, and you're going to have to get good at using your bow and arrow and slinging around at the same time to be able to battle these bosses. But I wanted to show you, I was trying to get to, did I miss the part with the boss that I dealt with? Let's see here. It might be coming up. Where is the boss that I had to deal with for a long time? It's kind of like, yeah, that right there. That is the boss that I had to deal with for a long time. I was stuck on that boss, and let me tell you, it was an epic battle. And I thought, I was like, this boss is too hard. This is the first boss, and this first boss is this freaking hard. I'm like banging my head against this first boss. Now I'm looking at that snake thing going through there, and I can tell that that is another boss, and that is going to be epic. I've gotten to this stage, but I haven't gotten to the boss yet. Graphically, the game is quite beautiful. It's quite enchanting, but simplistic at the same time. Very simplistic, very stylized, but still beautiful, still enchanting. This is a magical world. If you guys love to get caught up in a magical world with stirring music playing all around you, and you're looking up at these giant landscapes, you can run pretty fast, you can jump hella far, so you can platform the shit out of this game to a certain point, and then there will be these big giant chasms where, oh shit, I can't jump that far. And then you got to realize, okay, I got to use all these tree systems to go up that way, work my way around to get over to where I need to go. You're going to have to learn in Windlands 2, how do I navigate this? You're going to get a feel for doing the Spider-Man thing and for going really, really fast. And then you're going to get a feel for like slowing it down and how to just kind of hang from a tree, let yourself go, actually fall away, then shoot back, grab the tree, raise yourself up, take a couple shots at that boss, let yourself fall down. You're going to have to do all kinds of stuff on the fly. This game is deep. It is challenging. It's a really good game. Is it the second coming? Is this game going to blow away people that had no interest in the first Windlands? I don't know that it is. I can tell you right now, straight up, there's going to be people that get caught up in the hype of Windlands 2 and everybody ranting and raving about Windlands 2. They're going to run out and buy Windlands 2. They're going to play it for a little while, and they're going to be like, is this what everybody's all into? Like, what's, like, I don't get it. Like, this isn't that great. Like, the graphics are ordinary, the graphics are basic, the design is elementary. You know, yeah, the Spider-Man thing, after you do that for 10 minutes you get over it and then it's not a big deal anymore. But if that's the case, I don't think they're playing long enough in Windlands to get to where the bosses are. There's also some story here. You collect a few things here and there. I almost wish it was even more of a collect-a-thon. I almost wish it was made by Rare. What, you know, Rare Limited, right? Back in the old Nintendo days, where it's a collect-a-thon and you're grabbing all kinds of little hidden things. Like, God, do you guys remember Crackdown? Finding every little orb in Crackdown? If I have one request for the developers of Windlands 2 for SciTech Games is, oh my God, if you guys put orbs and little things to collect. There is stuff to collect in this game, but I love the platforming. I love the world. I love that the sand dripping down. I haven't even touched the multiplayer. Have not even touched the multiplayer. Okay, so let's see. I've been yapping and yapping and yapping. What are people talking about? Seems like everybody is talking about Oculus Go games as well. Jim Hall is talking about Kin, Vendetta, and Blaze Rush. Next sale. I think those are 3 games he wants to get. Chris Cox says Windlands 2 deserves more hype than virtual reality is getting. Okay, there seems to be a hater, like a number of haters in virtual reality, and it must just be the comedy. The comedy just doesn't speak to you. But these are two completely different games. You cannot compare Windlands 2 and virtual reality. They are completely different in two completely different categories. It's not even close. Chris Richardson said, "Did you play any multiplayer?" No, I haven't, because the way I would like to approach Windlands 2 is I'd like to play most of the single player content by myself and then start screwing around in multiplayer. Because the thing about multiplayer, does anybody else have this concern, is you're playing in multiplayer and then all of a sudden you see like a level that you never saw before, but you see it way faster because it's a multiplayer level that you immediately get into. And in the single player game, it might have taken you a couple of hours to have gotten to that level. And I hate that. I hate being spoiled like that. I'm more of a single player guy. And for me, Windlands 2, I'm going to play this mostly as a single player game, but after I've juiced all of the single player campaign, or at least juiced most of it, seen the big bosses, seen the different beautiful stages, then I will go into the multiplayer and screw around and have fun in multiplayer. And I'm sure it's super fun to screw around in multiplayer, but I like to get the juice of that single player content before I possibly spoil it in multiplayer. Hussein X says, oh damn, it went too fast. Okay. Chris says, I don't think VR is about graphics. Cartoon graphics works really good in VR. It absolutely does, but there are always people that are going to shit on these graphics. They want photorealism. Chris Cox says, someone on the Vive subreddit said VVVR is the best experience they have had on the Vive. James Davis 911 loved Crackdown. Yeah, could you imagine Crackdown VR? I loved the orbs. I loved finding the orbs in Crackdown, and I wish there was a lot more collectibles in Windlands. I really do. Let's see. The Bird Person says, like the geomes in To the Top. Yes, exactly, but more. Let me collect a lot. Andy Sky says, Gorn sucks and really overhyped. Oh my God, there's a lot of false stuff that is going on in chat. Some bad thoughts that are going on in chat. Bad thoughts about VVR and bad thoughts about Gorn. Andy Sky, here is the thing about Gorn. It's the hit detection. It's the collision. It's when your sword hits his arm. It's when your mace hits his shoulder armor. Tell me that sucks. Tell me that is overhyped. Now, you might not like the rest of the game. You might think, oh, it's just a lot of blood, blah, blah, blah. But I'm talking about the collision detection. Andy Sky, give me a better example of collision detection in VR, because I believe Gorn has the best collision detection of any game, period, that has used any kind of hand-to-hand weapon, hand-to-hand combat. Gorn is the best in hand-to-hand combat in VR. Skyrim's hand-to-hand combat can't hold a freaking candle to Gorn. I think Bethesda should grab the guy that was at Free Lives that designed that and take them away and have them work on the next Elder Scrolls. Gorn is not as overrated as you think. Crunchy says, Crackdown orbs were all about making your character stronger, faster, and more of a superhuman, which was super cool. Yeah, it was cool that it was more than just a flag hunt like Assassin's Creed, exactly. It was cool and rewarding while not being just a flag hunt. But does anybody like collectathons? I kind of like it. You know, maybe you could have an option of turning it off and removing it. But exploring these worlds are so beautiful in Windlands 2. It's such a cool vibe and an interesting place, even though it's so simplistic. You're zipping around, you're flying through here, and see, what people don't get from a trailer like this is you'll flip and zoom and you will land in a very dark place, like a cave almost, different kind of graphics, and then you're in a sunny area, you're on the edge of a cliff, and I'll tell you what, has anybody else felt this way when you're in Windlands? Every once in a while, do you go into a room scale mode and like walk up to like the edge? You know, like you're way up high on a huge cliff, and you ever walk up to the edge and kind of lean over like this and like look over the edge and like really try to pretend like you're seriously on an edge? That is super cool. Let's see what else people are saying. James Davis 911, Gorn is great. Well, there's a lot of aspects of Gorn that are great. It may be slightly overrated. But I still think Gorn's pretty fantastic. Until somebody improves upon it dramatically, Gorn gets a lot of love as far as I'm concerned. Chris says, I thought Gorn looked amazing, but it got old really fast. Yeah, it depends. It's just the collision detection for me is what it's all about. Chris Cox says, still haven't given Gorn a good go. I iceberged it like Anthony. Yeah, I must have iceberged it just a little bit deeper, though, because I did get deep enough in Gorn to realize how freaking brilliant it is. Crunchy says, if the collectibles unlock something, I will do it. I don't want to just go collecting things in open world games just for the sake of seeing the world. Okay, I understand exactly what you're saying, Crunchy, but what I'm saying is I want to go into the options and say, turn on rare collectible mode. You click that box, and now all of a sudden there's all these little gems and things that you collect, and every time you grab them, it goes ring. It makes some nice little noise. It makes you feel good inside. Give me the option. I think the option would be cool. But yeah, no, a collectathon is going to piss a lot of people off. Paradise says Gorn is always adding new content. They really are. They always have a new trailer, some weird new thing. They had that one guy where the little guy is sitting on his shoulder, and then they had the crab mode or shrimp mode or whatever the heck it was. Gorn is always doing something new. Nick Daniels says, Gorn is not bad, but people's told me it was incredible, so I was very disappointed. Yeah, that's the thing about all of this stuff. Your expectations going into a lot of these games is really, really key, and that could be a problem with Windlands 2. People's expectations for Windlands 2 are really going to be hyped up, and it's going to be interesting to see chat over the next several days as a bunch of you guys get your hands on Windlands 2, because I'm sure there's going to be quite a few of you that fall madly in love with this game and you're going to love it. But there's going to be other of you that is going to be like, what? Like, what is this all about? Like, this isn't that freaking incredible. Like, I don't see the hype of this. I love it, but of course I loved Windlands 1, but not everybody loved Windlands 1. If you hated Windlands 1, I'm not sure, as great as that boss battle was that I had with that very first boss, I'm not sure that there's going to be enough in this to change your mind about it. It is magical. It is beautiful. It is a wonderful world. And this trailer does a great, great job of illustrating all of that. I mean, this trailer was mixed beautifully. The production values, it really shows off the game in a nice way. And it's not always going to be this beautiful and incredible, but there will be moments where you're just appreciating this wonderful world. Chris Cox, did you finish Windlands 1, Anthony? What do you think the answer to that question is, Chris? Let's be real. What's the answer to that question? Actually, truthfully, I got about 75-80% into Windlands 1. Never put it to bed, but I did get about 75-80% into Windlands 1. Hybrid Energy says Windlands 2 does look fun. Main Fan says, at Andy, the Gorn Arena isn't tiny anymore. Oh, yeah, they do have some different sized arenas that you get into. Crunchy says, oh, I thought Anthony said he wished Windlands 2 had collectibles. I do. I mean, I wish there was an option for it, but I don't want it forced on everybody. It's just I enjoy these environments so much that if there was more of an incentive to explore every little nook and cranny, that would be kind of cool. But yeah, it's pretty freaking badass. Windlands 2 is really nice. Fluke says, I think it's a general problem with VR games. We're so desperate for proper quality content. Something that's above average can come along and get hyped up way more than it should. Yeah, I mean, it's the situation we're in, right? It is the situation we're in. I can assure you guys, though, Windlands 2, the only negative thing I have to say about Windlands 2 is $30. You know, $30 is $30, right? You could almost buy 3 Unknown Fates for Windlands 2. So $30 is $30 is $30. But this is pretty freaking solid. If you're a huge fan of Windlands 1, this is like an insta-buy. insta buy, period. And they've added other things. You know, there is a little bit of story that is going on here. There's these little characters. You have to bring things to people. You have to do certain things. So this is a little bit more intricate than the first Windlands. It's a little more detailed. You got all this combat. And at first, I thought the combat was going to be something that was just kind of thrown in. But that epic boss battle, the boss battle that I had with that boss was maybe one of the most epic boss battles I've had in VR, period. Because you really have to deal with the 3D-ness of the whole thing. Like, you have to get to other sides of the boss. You have to freaking shoot those things off of him. He kills you so damn quick. I'm super interested. Can't wait till all of you guys in chat, those of you that buy Windlands 2 right away, I can't wait to hear what your experience was like with that first boss. It's going to be really interesting. There might be some of you that like dispatch that first boss really quickly, like really get the hang of it, really get the idea. Now, you're cheating though if you're watching other people's videos and you figure out how to kill that first boss really fast. But a few of you guys might get pissed off about that first boss and might think it's a little bit too hard. So that will be interesting. Okay, so I wanted to see, do I have anything else? Wait, Paradise has a comment. Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis says the final Windlands 2 boss is really hard. Oh, I bet it is. Because the first boss, damn, I struggled with the first boss. The snake boss, I haven't gotten to the snake boss. Look at this boss right here. I think you got to keep battling that snake guy. Like, you're going to have to keep following him, and you're going to have to like get on different angles of him, and he's going to shoot you and blast you. I think it's going to be like, the boss battles are epic, definitely epic. A major bonus that has been added to Windlands 2. This could be a really hot game for September. And you know, will Transference be the best game of September? I don't know. Windlands 2 is coming into the mix and saying maybe not, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. So, was there anything else? Yeah, so I guess I don't have anything else that was predetermined here. Let me go ahead and throw on some other kind of trailer. We've been running the same Windlands trailer for a minute. Let's take a look at Chiaro of Life, which isn't this supposed to come out this week as well? So I could throw this trailer on. I think this is supposed to be coming out like September 3rd or something if it's still on schedule. Let me look up the Steam page for it. Yeah, so throw this other trailer on here. Chiaro and the Elixir of Life. And as we can see here, yeah, this is supposedly September 13th. So we're just a couple days away from there. Don't know what the price is on this yet. Haven't heard. Martov Company is a developer. And I'm kind of interested in this. But man, bad timing. It's kind of bad timing because everybody and their mom, well, I mean, a lot of people tomorrow are going to be dropping 30 bones on Windlands 2. And they're going to be, and Windlands 2, let me tell you something else about Windlands 2. Windlands 2 is the kind of game that could keep you occupied maybe for like a month. So you might, you know, it's a game that might be able to keep you occupied. Depends on how hard you hammer it. Let's see what everybody is talking about in chat. Chris Cox says, devs said they would rather have released it to all platforms, but Oculus offered to pay for half of the development. Are we talking about Windlands 2? Because, wow, if they paid for half of the development, you can understand why a dev would go that route. Hybrid Energy says, no one cares that the wireless Vive thing is coming the 24th. Shows how little Vive users there is here or something. Well, you know, part of the reason it's probably on me, Hybrid. I don't have a Vive. If I had a Vive, I'd probably be hella jazzed for it because I'd probably be picking it up because then it's only you know, it's only an additional investment of so many $100s. It's not like investing another $700-800. Christian Jensen says, I care about the wireless Vive. Let me see if I can find that wireless Vive trailer. Speaking of wireless, let's see. Wireless Vive is here. The wireless adapter is here. Yeah, here is the trailer. Why is there a lack of hype in the wireless adapter? You know, there's probably a lot of Oculus people. Maybe more people with Oculus and PSVRs. We got Vive owners in the building as well, of course. I mean, I've literally thought about picking up a used Vive, somebody upgrading to a Vive Pro, you know, trying to find a dirt cheap used Vive package and then grabbing the Vive wireless adapter. I've thought about that. I've seriously thought about that. Like, I would rather do that than get a TP cast for my Oculus Rift. Like, no question about it. I would much rather find a used Vive and get a used Vive. Danny Duncan. They got Danny Duncan in the trailer. That's pretty awesome. They got YouTuber Danny Duncan. Kevin Mars says, F Vive controllers suck. The Vive controllers do suck. The Vive controllers do suck. But just for the wirelessness, you know, just to have that wireless adapter with an original Vive, there'd be a lot, like I'd be playing some Racket NX, Unseen Diplomacy, Zortex 26X, basically any game I could think of where I got tangled up in my cord and my cord pissed me off, I would be unleashed with wireless. It would be super cool. Chris Cox says, am I the only one that doesn't have that much of an issue with the wire? I was playing Racket NX the other night with no issues. Yeah, you pretty much are the only one. Well, we all get used to it. We all deal with it, but it doesn't mean it's any good. Mame Fan says, I have a spare Vive sitting in my basement. Ship it my direction, baby. I will grab that wireless adapter. Christian Jensen says, wireless with no jank will be a game changer for me. Assuming there's no jank. Phil Yarn says, just wait for Santa Cruz, man. Or at least wait for Oculus Connect 5 to find out how much Santa Cruz is going to cost and what day it's coming. Yeah. Hybrid Energy says, but Santa Cruz isn't wireless high-end, though. It's not going to be wireless high-end. We don't really know what Santa Cruz is going to be, but it's definitely not going to be super, super, super high-end. We don't know what a Snapdragon 435 is capable of yet, you know? I mean, we're hoping that the Snapdragon 835 is in there. Logan68 says, I don't know, as a Vive owner, thinking of Pimax upgrade. Yeah, and then there's the Pimax question. That's the thing, man. Everywhere we go down a different road, you know? And so it's like, I could think, well, hey, I could get the HTC Vive Pro and the wireless adapter, and I'm in a whole different world. Look at this. It'll be awesome. I'm Danny Duncan, baby. I'm playing soccer. I'm a Jedi Knight. I'm doing all this stuff. This will be super awesome. But then you're thinking, wait a minute, I want Pimax. I want to see all this huge, gigantic field of view. I want the 5K plus Pimax because I don't really care about the 8K. And I just want to see this wider field of view with this new panel that is pretty sweet. But why would I get a wireless adapter? Because that's not going to work with the Pimax at all. So why am I wasting money on the wireless adapter? And then somebody else might say, no, why are you wasting any money on any of this stuff? You should be buying a 2080 Ti. So, I mean, there's a million different directions we can throw our money at. It absolutely is a bit of a problem. And Santa Cruz, again, Santa Cruz, that is another thing we could throw money at. It never ends, guys. We are in one of the most expensive hobbies known to man. We are in a very expensive hobby here. It is just the way it is. Crunchy says, I love how this trailer is, should someone show someone rolling on the floor, like people are going to do that. Well, you're going to have to unlearn the fact that you had a cord for all this time. It's going to take time before you can take off in a full sprint in your own house. You know, I could sprint like maybe 7 or 8 feet, and then I'm going to run into a wall pretty much. Crunchy says, money pit. It's a money pit. We are in a money pit hobby. This is a money pit. We are addicted to something that is crazy expensive. It's not so much expensive as you just want one item, but the problem is we want them all. We want to try it all. I just think wireless is pricey, almost the same price as a Rift. That is Chris Cox. Yeah, it's $300, right? $300. Bullet Ape, I think the Santa Cruz will fall short in the complexity it can handle. Jazzed Up Go. But man, after playing Drop Dead on the go yesterday and the lack of friction and just immediately getting into Drop Dead and playing it and it looking colorful and everything, I think a Jazzed Up Go with 6 degrees with true hand presence, 6 degrees of freedom on your head and everything, I think a Jazzed Up Go might actually be really cool. It might actually be really awesome. Once the battery go dead, VR is over. Vive controller, Kevin Mars. Some people like to be on the negative side of things. Not just kidding. Chevy, I'm putting off playing some games until I get wireless. TP Cast Plus? Question mark. Paradise Decay says, pros devs are on Twitter. Send them a tweet about the demo. Imagine the heat of that thing on the back of your head after an hour. That's something I've never even thought about, the heat. Or just the comfort in general. There could be these other downsides we're not thinking about when it comes to the Vive wireless adapter or any of these wireless adapters as well. Nick Daniels says, can't wait for the Chinese to go on the market and make it cheap. Chris says, once you go wireless, you never go back. I hate the wire now. Yeah. I wonder if the wire is starting to bother me more. The more I play the Go, the more that wire pisses me off. I think it's part of it. I'm also noticing God rays way more than I ever noticed God rays. And I think part of this could be the Oculus Go. It kind of helps things but hurts things because it lets you know, oh, you're kind of missing out on this, you're missing out on that. So let's see here. Thought we would just go ahead and put on something else as a trailer for a minute here, and I could go and check and see if we got any new news stories that are going on. Hybrid Energy says, Anthony, imagine budget cuts wireless. Exactly. Imagine everything wireless. I mean, most games. Windlands 2 would be better wireless. I'd walk around a little bit more. You know, I would be zipping through the trees and then landing on a platform, and then I might walk around a little bit. I used to do this a lot way back in the early days of VR. I would deliberately try to walk around. Like, I would teleport somewhere and then try to walk around a little bit. And I did it, like, on purpose, just trying to add more immersion, like, to, like, force myself to add more immersion. And it kind of worked. And so if I had wireless, I'd do that in a lot more games because it would give me the freedom to walk around a little bit more. Bird Person says, heat rises. Everything is better wireless, even seated games. Yeah, sure. Oculus Go, it's a lot. Seated games actually get a really big improvement because think about how you have to take your wire and get it on the outside of your chair. How many people have to do that when you play a seated game? You got to make sure, and your headphones, like you're getting your headphone wires, you're like moving everything around to get it dialed in. Hybrid Energy says, I'm lucky to have a Micro Center near me. They'll have a deal eventually, I'm sure, on the Intel. Dude, Micro Center always has great deals. You are a lucky guy right there. Christian Jensen says, there is nothing stopping other VR firms from making a deal with Intel and their Y-Gig tech. Nothing except a special deal with HTC that lasts for 1 year. I mean, there could be some kind of deal they worked out. Who knows? Dr. Freeman is in the building. Dr. Freeman, I presume. But yeah, you know, we've been going for about an hour here. So what I thought I would do is just quickly check the major, let's check the major news sites that we typically go to. Of course, Upload VR and Road to VR. We could just see what is going on. Like, what are the biggest stories of the day? Let's check this out real quick, and then we'll come back to chat in a second. So looking here on Upload VR, VR game releases for September 28th. And actually, let's take a look at this, you know, because I'll tell you what, we can do a little bonus. We can go a little bit deeper on this show than just an hour because, dude, September is a strong month, ladies and gentlemen. September is a really strong month. We are truly blessed this month. We got a lot of good stuff coming. I mean, look at that. We got Creed coming on the 25th. We got all these games coming in September. Now, a lot of them might be kind of lame. Zone of the Enders, pretty big game there, right? Unknown Fate, better than I thought it was. Virtual reality. What's new to you is new to you for the Vive players out there. Windlands 2, of course, absolutely huge. September 12th. Transference, another big one. Blind, Creed, Zero Killed, and probably a couple of others that we're even forgetting as well. So, I mean, September is pretty. Unearthing Mars, that's the other one, that, and Downward Spiral Aura Station for PlayStation VR players. So, dude, September is a strong month. We are blessed indeed. I mean, I wasn't expecting September to be that strong. It might end up stronger than October, November, or December. We'll be lucky to have a month that's stronger than that. Probably November, though, especially because of PlayStation VR. Okay, they have a ranking of the 15 best VR shooters and their Windlands 2 review, a high-flying sequel that builds on its predecessor. And this is in the news too, guys. Lenovo's VR headset. We're just talking about throwing money at all kinds of things. Why don't I immediately throw $100 at this Lenovo VR headset just to grab the headset? No controllers, of course, but I would be able to play anything with my Xbox controller, I guess. I'd have to eventually grab some controllers. Why not grab this as well? You know, we can spend $1 million on everything. There's just unlimited things to possibly grab. But hey, 99 bones, not a bad way to get into PC VR gaming. You could play stuff like Moss. You could play stuff like Ken. There's lots of controller-based games. Thumper, like a lot of stuff you could play with just this headset and just a regular controller, not with the motion controllers. And Firewall Zero Hour still has very good sales in the UK charts. So let's see what Road to VR is doing. Let's see what they got over here. Road to VR Windlands 2 review. The true starting point for a high-flying series, 4 stars out of 5. So they are very bullish on Windlands 2. Superhot Studio never really left VR, considering VR version of upcoming expansion. They should. Superhot's one of the biggest games in VR, period. Everybody's Golf. Yeah, we do have some pictures, like some screenshots of Everybody's Golf. Hot Shots Golf to Me and You. This is coming hopefully early 2019, and it looks pretty freaking good. It really does look good. I'm really liking Hot Shots Golf. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, we're talking first quarter 2019. You know, the earlier, the better. And then Meta is forced to furlough after Chinese lead backs out of new investments. So Meta is having some serious problems there. So that's what's going on in the news. So let me go back to chat. Anybody have any takes on any of the things that we just saw right here? Hybrid Energy says, we have good content amount coming. Just wish for a more variety, more genres. Where are the Japanese RPGs, the arcade racers, etc.? Yeah, it's going to take a while. Like, I want a good baseball game, a good NFL football game, a good hockey game, a really good tennis game. We don't have everything that we want. You know, we sometimes get one game in a category that we're kind of into, and we got to hope that that game puts it together for absolute sure. Great Tantrum. What is up, Great Tantrum? Does Windows Mixed Reality headset work with both Oculus and Vive games? Well, it will work with Steam, and there is a Revive that you can use that will work with the Windows Mixed Reality that will allow you to get into Oculus. So you can try to do a lot. In fact, you could buy that Lenovo headset, I believe, for $100, and you could be playing Lucky's Tale. You know, sign up for an Oculus account. It's free to get to play Lucky's Tale. Lucky's Tale is 100% free if you have an Oculus account, and I believe you can use a version of Revive that works with Windows Mixed Reality. You could be playing Lucky's Tale within a couple of days just buying a $99 headset. Not a bad idea. Bird Person says, soon they'll be giving those away for free. Paradise Decay says, Hellblade uses PS4 or Xbox controller. Exactly, Hellblade. There you go right there. So yeah, there's lots of good stuff. I mean, getting that headset for $99, not necessarily a bad decision, because you could always try to grab some controllers a little bit later down the road. Nick Daniels says, Everybody's Golf is actually the game I want the most. And the question is, Nick, how long are you going to have to wait? Hopefully, like maybe February 2019. That would be really nice. Hopefully it's not too long. Chris Cox says, I have to go under the tree to reconnect the roots, I think, but the door is locked. I do not know what the hell he is talking about. He's being stuck somewhere. Oh, that might be Hellblade or something. And Hybrid Energy says, you buy a Rift in the future and it will come with a free mixed reality headset and 10 years free subscription of Viveport. Yeah, that's about where we're headed. And Asterix Gaming says, hey man, Viveport has got better recently. There's actually a lot of good games that you can grab from Viveport if you're not worried about the software screwing up your system. Apex Construct is a damn good game. And that I think you could get Apex Construct as one of your 5 free games maybe. And there's a bunch of others. There's a lot of good stuff on Viveport. Isn't Moss on Viveport now too? It's a damn shame that there's any problem at all with the Viveport software. Otherwise, everybody would be grabbing Viveport. It would make sense. So many people are scared of Viveport because of all the horror stories. Andy Sky says, yeah, the Lenovo with all the VR racing games as well. All of those games are controller based, and you could do that as well. So it kind of makes sense to maybe grab that Lenovo headset for 99 bones and then hope to get the other controllers later on. It just gives you another option to screw around with. Not necessarily a horrible idea at all. And it can work potentially with laptops because it has that low-end mode. It has the low-end capability down at 60 hertz, which allows it to work on laptops. So anyway, guys, I could take a quick... you know what? We better get going here. I've been going over an hour. But yeah, Windlands 2 comes out tomorrow. I will try to play it some more. Maybe try to get into the multiplayer just a little bit, just to kind of get a quick taste of the multiplayer. So I'll probably talk a little bit more about Windlands 2 tomorrow on release day. I'd like to play a bit more of Unknown Fate because I kind of liked what I saw with it. So I'm going to try to play a little bit more of that as well, and then we'll just see what other news stories are popping up. But I will check everybody out tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Now, I do have news. Thursday, I have a doctor's appointment, and Thursday's show is going to be 2 p.m. Pacific time. So Thursday, 2 p.m. But tomorrow is 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Pacific time like normal. I think I accidentally said 10 a.m. at the end of the show yesterday. I screwed up, and I should have... posted something about that. But let me go ahead and get my outro trailer on the screen here, and we can go ahead and bounce out of here. Alrighty then, so that will go ahead and do it. VR game rankings. Make sure to check out the website if you get an opportunity, and absolutely subscribe to the channel, like the show, all those other good things, and we will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I'll see everybody then. Take it easy. Later.